Welcome to ParaMotion 8.0. Ines and her sister Maya have been doing ParaMotion events here in Spatial every 2 weeks, and they're educating us about really important conditions, and they'll tell us more about that. Today is about POTS, and I've written in the chat in Japanese what we're going to do. So it's just first some dancing and the introductions. Then we're going to have some information from them on POTS. We're going to play a game, and we're going to all get a new avatar that represents the POTS and Elastanos. And then we'll have another game, an information discussion, and maybe a dance at the end. So I'm going to hand over to Ines and Maya.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Elizabeth, for helping us out, and welcome everyone to this session. I know some of you are new here, and some of you maybe have been to our sessions. We have been around now for a few months. We have had some sessions diving deeply into what EDS is, and as well what is POTS a little bit, maybe before, and what's the other comorbidities like ADHD and autism and mast cell activation syndrome. But I know since some of you are new here, I would like to do a little recap on what EDS is before we tap into the topic of today, which is POTS. Please let's make this interactive. Please write any comments or any feedback, questions in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself, ask me any question anytime, so we can make this more casual. It's a safe space for everyone, so if you want to share your story or have any things you would like to say, just unmute and feel free to join us. I will start this presentation. We're gonna go through like an EDS recap really quickly. Some of you already know this, but what is EDS? It's a group of heritable connective tissue disorders with diverse effects on the body, and it's caused by a genetic variant affecting the collagen and related proteins. So it's basically a collagen defect in the body, and collagen exists in everywhere in the body, and especially in the connective tissue, and connective tissue is everywhere. So if you have a genetic variant that makes the collagen defected, then you can imagine that you will have symptoms all across your body. For example, it's integral to the bones, ligaments, tendons, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and organs, like also the GI, the gastrointestinal tract. So when you usually, a lot of people hear about EDS, but they hear mostly about hypermobility. And they think of it as like this kind of condition that where people are like overly flexible, so they could basically so they could basically bend and put their hands on the floor without bending their knees. Their knees also can bend backwards 10 degrees. The thumb, it can also go beyond 90 degrees. Are you saying anything?
Ines, can I ask you to slow down a little bit so that I can swap the slides out as you... Sorry. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll speak slower. That's what you asked, because your voice was a little bit...
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay, I'll speak slower.
Yes, please.
All right. So yeah, we're talking about the joints. So basically, a lot of people with hypermobility, with the symptoms that are commonly seen and discussed are basically the joint symptoms, where basically the knee can be hyperextended, like you could see in the picture number 2, where the knee goes backwards beyond 10 degrees, and that's not normal. Usually knees have to be vertical, so it has to be right under the hip and on top of the heel. So this is abnormal, and it causes a lot of issues and pain. Another one is, for example, the thumb can move past the normal range of motion, as you can see in picture number 3. And all the fingers, actually, all the fingers of the hands can be hypermobile, not just the thumb. Even the pinky finger as well can go beyond 90 degrees. And like the elbow, for example, as well in picture 5, it goes backwards 10 degrees, and that's not normal, and it will cause a lot of issues. Now you can have all of them, or you can have some of them. For example, I have the 2 and the 5 and the 1, but the 3 and the 4 not as much. I don't have as bendy fingers as the ones that, so it looks different for different people, but it's enough to have a little bit to already be qualified to be hypermobile. And also other symptoms that can be related to hypermobility is flat feet. A lot of us have flat feet because of our bad posture, and it's something that you can work to train your feet to overcome. But it's very common to see the feet are flat, and the toes are bending and or curling to stabilize because you don't have the motion in the ankle. It's very common to see rounded shoulders, and pain in the jaw. It's called TMJ. And cervical instability, where like your neck is unstable, the cervical spine is a little bit unstable, and that can cause also a bunch of symptoms. So this is in general, what people think hypermobility is, and what is commonly understood. But hypermobility is much more than that. It's a multisystemic condition because, like, think about it. You have defected collagen. Collagen exists in all connective tissue. Connective tissue exists in all over the body. It's in your stomach, in your intestine, in your joints, in your muscles, in your bones, in your brain. It's everywhere. So if you have defected collagen, it doesn't only mean that like the joints are bending too much and that's it. Obviously it means like a range of symptoms all over the body. So a lot of hypermobility, that a lot of people don't tell you this, but it's very important that you know this, and this is what we're trying to raise awareness for, that is hypermobility in general is a multi-systemic condition. So of course you do have the symptoms of the joints, of the muscles, but you also have symptoms of GI symptoms. A lot of people might be diagnosed with IBS, but actually it's more coming from EDS. But maybe they're misdiagnosed and they say, okay, you have IBS, but actually it's because it's a symptom of having EDS. You also can have chronic pain, chronic fatigue syndrome, mast cell activation, POTS, like we will talk about today, ADHD, autism. You can have sleep disturbance, and for a lot of people who have EDS and all, even POTS, they're diagnosed immediately with anxiety, depression, and IBS. Like these are the things, because like you have like a heart rate that bounces really fast, and that's usually connected with anxiety, and you have malabsorption in the stomach, and you have like issues with digestion. Then there's like IBS, and you're not feeling good, obviously, if you have pain in your body, if you're not digesting well, obviously you will be depressed and anxious, of course. But that's a symptom, right? That's not the core cause. And if we just stop on the anxiety and depression and we treat it with medication, we're just numbing the body, but we're not really tapping into the actual reason behind this and really going into the core cause. So it's very important that we raise awareness that all of these conditions, all of these misdiagnoses, all of them are EDS and can be related to hypermobility in one way or another. And we have to look at the body as a whole, not as a fragmented part. I hope I'm not speaking too fast. I know I have this tendency to speak too fast. So if you have any questions or if you want to say something, just stop me. Elizabeth, you think it's good?
I think it's a little bit fast, but
Still.
it's getting better.
Okay. All right, I'll try to breathe more.
Explain again?
Sorry?
Yes. Can you please explain again how the collagen affects all the organs in the body and how doctors are missing it? I think that's, for me, a key thing. So if you can go over that one again, maybe.
Yeah, I think we will talk a little bit about it more also in the slides. That was just like mostly a recap, but we will talk a
Okay.
little bit about it. It's coming a little bit later, so just hold on for a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the focus of
Let
the
me just switch out the slide.
okay. Tell me when you're ready.
Trying to make sure. I seem to have yes, what is POTS? Okay, got it.
All right.
Perfect, go
Perfect.
ahead. Thank you.
So yeah, what is POTS? We're gonna talk a little bit about what POTS is right now, and then later we're gonna talk about how POTS links to EDS, and that's why we're gonna talk a little bit more about collagen. That's your question, Lisbeth. We're gonna talk about how it links to ADHD, autism, and MCAS. So all of that is coming. But let's start first by, what is POTS and what does it even stand for? POTS basically stands for Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome. It's a fancy word to mean that it's a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system is responsible for a lot of things. It's very important in the body. It's responsible, it regulates the heart rate. So your heart rate, how important is that? You can imagine. And then blood pressure, digestion, and temperature. So a lot of people with POTS also struggle with temperature regulation. So when you stand, for example, your autonomic nervous system should tighten the blood vessels and redirect the blood to the brain. We have taken this maybe in biology class when we were in school, and
We don't remember now.
we were snoozing probably. But yeah, so that's how the autonomic nervous system basically is responsible for tightening those blood vessels and redirecting the blood to the brain. But since the in POTS this system is not regulating properly, what will that cause? It will cause the blood to pool in the legs, so you will have a lot of the blood staying in the legs and not going up to the brain. And when the blood is not going enough to the brain, you will have a heart rate spike. So it's not that you're anxious, it's that well, you are anxious eventually because of it, but it's not the reason that's because you're anxious that this happens. It's because you have POTS and that the blood is not flowing properly to the brain. So the heart has to pump harder so that the blood goes up. Um, it's a little bit tricky to understand if you've never heard it before, but I will repeat again some of it in the presentation. This is just an overview, so we will repeat some of these concepts again with more details. And it's good to know also, like 85% of POTS patients are female. And we talk a little bit about women health. International Women Day was just a couple of days ago, so it's a good reminder for us to think about like these conditions that are mostly prominent in women, but they're underfunded and underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed, neglected, and that's a whole huge issue that we need to also, as a society, we need to face. So, but it's good to know that also if you are female, then you're more likely to have POTS. Then you can check if you have these symptoms. Maybe check with your healthcare provider. Tell them if they don't know about it, or find someone that knows about these conditions when you're trying to ask for medical help. So I'm switching now to the next slide. You ready, Elizabeth?
Okay. I'm ready. Give me a sec.
All right. So why does POTS happen? That's the very important question. Like, why does this happen? And a lot of it is like answered by genetics. Up to 80% of the patients with the POTS are actually having EDS. So you could see like 80% of people who have POTS have an underlying cause that is EDS or hypermobility spectrum. And this goes back to the collagen issue, right? When you have collagen, for example, deficiency or like defect, um, collagen also makes the blood vessels. So the blood vessels are also made from collagen. And the defect that you see in EDS is the fact that the not only the blood vessels, but now we're talking about the blood vessels specifically, they don't expand or pump as good as normal or healthy vessels because the collagen is not as elastic. And then what happens when the blood is not pumping as efficiently? POTS symptoms, right? You will have the blood not able to go to the brain. Now you will have bad circulation, dizziness, faintiness, so all of this. And also there are some links with autoimmune. So some people who have autoimmune conditions might also experience POTS symptoms because their bodies are attacking their own nervous system. And in some cases, actually surprisingly, 30% of COVID-19 patients have reported the POTS symptoms. It's called long COVID, and so it can also be triggered by viral infections or post-viral triggers. So like for example, even Epstein-Barr or even flu can trigger POTS symptoms. And of course there are the stressors of life as well that can trigger those symptoms. Even pregnancy can trigger this, surgery, or even traumatic events. So there can be like genetic factors, there could be autoimmune linking to this type of condition, it could be post-viral triggers, or it could be a life event or a life traumatic event, whether it's surgery, pregnancy, or anything like that have triggered POTS. And what does that mean when it triggers POTS? Like what kind of symptoms are we looking at? Let me go and see. So I'm flipping now to the next one where we're going to talk about symptoms. Here, Lisbeth, you have a game for us, or?
Okay, and then after yes, you can introduce the symptoms, and then we're going to go over them again and play a game. So you can go ahead with this slide, and then I'll move us to the other side of the space where we're going to play a game.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so what are these symptoms? Well, the symptoms are not just dizziness. A lot of people think, oh, POTS, dizzy, fainty, but it's part of it. Of course, it's part of it. But like with EDS, it's a full body, disruptor. It's a full body, multi-systemic kind of condition. So we can think of cardiovascular symptoms, like we talked a little bit about it earlier, like the rapid heartbeat, because the brain is not getting enough blood, and palpitations. This one I really struggle with. Now it's a lot better because I know how to cope with it. I will mention coping with it, don't worry. And near fainting, I used to get that a lot. Sometimes I used to even tell my doctor. I remember I went to a female doctor once in Stockholm, and I was like 21 or something. And I tell her I feel fainty, I have rapid heartbeat, palpitations, I have brain fog, migraine, I have pain in my muscles. I'm telling her all of these things, and I think she was like 50 years old or something like this. And she looks at me and she says, "You are lying." She just tells me, "You are lying." I say, "Why am I lying to you? Why would I lie about this? Obviously there's something wrong. That's why I'm coming here. I'm paying your bill. I'm paying for your service that you reject to provide." And she looks at me, she's like, "You look healthy. You are 21. There's no way that you are suffering with these symptoms. These symptoms are only for old people." And then she says, "I'm not gonna do any tests for you. Like, Anna, I don't believe you. I think you just have some mental disorder." um I still till this day remember that moment and how traumatizing that was, because I was gaslit by a woman, which is like, even Men can do this and women can do this. Even women healthcare professionals can also do this to other women. It's not just men. And I remember I told her, can you at least just check some blood samples, just check like my blood, like just to see if something is wrong. And she goes and she says okay, and then she's so pissed at me, she puts the needle and she presses so hard that it hurts me and it becomes like blue after, and I could feel like she did that on purpose. And I'm like blue for a few days after, and she doesn't care, she doesn't tell me the results, she says I'm fine, and she doesn't ever help me anymore. Anyways, so that was like just a detailed experience of how bad the health system or the medical system can treat us and disregard us, when we come in with these symptoms, because they think, oh, there's no way all of these symptoms can be failing at once. There's no way you have the cardiovascular, you have the neurological, you have the GI. There's no way. Then you must be lying. But it's just because they're not well educated, and they maybe are bad at their jobs. Some of them are really bad at their jobs, so we really need to be careful with those things. And this has happened multiple times, with men and women. So that's why I'm speaking about it. Like sometimes they even injure us on purpose just to tell us like, no, you are lying. So this is just to validate you. Like there you have these multi-systemic symptoms. You have the cardiovascular, like we talked about. You have the neurological, which also can mimic here ADHD symptoms like brain fog, migraine, coat hanger pain, for example. Coat hanger is basically the shoulders, the two shoulders and the neck. They make like a coat hanger there, and that's a very common pain in EDS and in as well POTS. You might feel nausea, bloating, and delayed stomach emptying. Here as well, we go back to what Lisbeth was talking about, the collagen. So, the stomach is also made from collagen, and the linen of the intestines are also made from collagen. So, when we have the pumping in the stomach is not working well because of this collagen defect, then the stomach is not emptying well. It's not emptying the food at the right rate. It's very slow and delayed, and some of that food stays in the stomach longer than it should be, and that can lead to these bloating symptoms, nausea, and even the bacteria in the stomach becomes imbalanced, and there are like a bunch of other symptoms as well. And this is, in POTS and in EDS, it's very similar here, and there's a huge overlap. And then obviously when you're struggling with all of these symptoms, it's only natural that you feel the fatigue, and you feel the depression and the anxiety, because of course, like how can you feel good? And then there are temperature swings. There are people who are heat intolerant, so hot weather really triggers their symptoms really badly. And there are some people like me, for example. I am the opposite. For me, I'm allergic to cold, cold sensitivity. Whenever the temperature is like below 20 degrees Celsius, I flare, and I get a lot of symptoms. When it's 25 plus, I'm functioning at a much better rate. I'm like my symptoms are like 50 to 60% less severe. So, and these temperature swings, like really sometimes can be like 1 to 3 degrees difference in temperature can trigger flares. So like some people, for example, during the day they're feeling good, and then at night when it drops like 5-6 degrees, they start to have a flare. So that's also because we have bad temperature regulation. And one last thing before we jump into the game with Lisbeth is the exercise intolerance. A lot of people, when they're having these symptoms and then they go to the gym, they feel worse. I mean, let alone dragging yourself when you have all these symptoms to the gym, and then you go there and then you feel worse. It's like you want something that helps you, not makes you feel worse. And it's because a lot of these exercises are made as high intensity exercises, are not taking into account these conditions. So it becomes like kind of exercise intolerance because you flare more when you do high intensity. That's why it's very important for us to get the right exercise, the right movement regime that really helps us calm down our nervous system. And I will talk more in details about this later.
I just have one thing to add here. So POTS symptoms, mainly like you feel it really more when you're like sitting and then you stand up fast, so you will have this dizziness. So wherever there's a fast movement where your body needs to adjust the pump of the blood, here you have a problem and your body cannot pump the blood all in the right direction. So you have this dizziness and stuff. So that's why also when you have exercise, when you need to move fast, run, jump, and stuff, your body cannot really regulate fast the speed of the pump of the blood and all these things at once. So your nervous system become overwhelmed. Your heart will gonna pump very fast, trying to regulate all these things, and then you just like everything become overwhelmed because they have so much complexity to regulate at once. So that's what we. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to keep in mind, and like we have a real problem with the pumping, right, of the liquids in the body. Since, as Ines said, this collagen exists in the wall of the vessels, and they cannot shrink or pressure or like and enlarge at really fast time as we need to move fast.
So what's the link between POTS, now that we know what POTS is, and the conditions like EDS, MCAS, ADHD, and autism? Well, we talked a lot about EDS, and here is the question again, what Elizabeth was saying in the beginning is like, how does collagen affect this? And we already talked about it, so a little bit. I will repeat here so that if you guys forgot, now you can remember again. Collagen defect leads to weak blood vessels. These blood vessels that we have are not contracting properly, and that will lead to blood pooling and dizziness. So this is like a direct link here with the faintiness and the feeling of dizziness that we feel with the POTS. And then when it comes to joint instability, which is also caused by the collagen defect, is the fact that we are stuck in the fight or flight mode. And when we're stuck in fight or flight mode, then we have worse POTS symptoms, obviously, because the autonomous nervous system is basically two systems. It's the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic one is the fight or flight, and that's where your body is working high alert and working at survival. It's like when you're running from a bear. I always say this when we're running from a bear. Imagine a cheetah is running after a zebra, yeah? That's when you're in sympathetic. So not great, not great to be in that mode. We need to go into a parasympathetic, and now imagine a zebra hanging by the water, chilling with their zebra friends. That's the vibe that you need to get, so that you're in rest and digest system, which is parasympathetic system, and you're more. From there, you can really start to heal and improve your symptoms. So that's when it comes to EDS. When it comes to muscle activation, we have a very detailed session we did together previously, so I'm not gonna go into too many details, but if you do want to hear more about muscle activation, please do visit our YouTube channel, ParaMotion EDS, or even go to our website paramotion.org, where you can access there our YouTube channel and also our blog, because we have a very detailed blog there about muscle as well. But what I can tell you from here is that 50% of POTS patients have muscle activation syndrome. And just a quick recap, mast cells are immune cells that release chemicals that are necessary for the body. When they have this syndrome, they are overactive. They release too much of these chemicals. And the more histamine we have, the more we have allergy symptoms, and that will lead to worsened tachycardia and blood pressure swings. So you can see here clearly the link between MCAS and POTS. So when we discussed EDS and MCAS and POTS, we really stayed in the physical realm, we can say. But if we move into the mental realm, obviously the neurological symptoms are going to be translated into ADHD and autism. So ADHD is shared nervous system dysfunction. Both involve dopamine and norepinephrine imbalances. Obviously, we know that ADHD, dopamine issues we have there, and that affects our motivation and our performance and our focus. So that's also linked to the autonomic nervous system dysfunction, which is also present in all of these conditions. And then we have brain fog, also is something in POTS that is more existing in ADHD. and this could be because of reduced blood flow to the brain, which can make that brain fog and mimic ADHD symptoms. And then we have autism. Autism, for example, it's a lot about sensory overload. I have it myself. I have like my noise canceling headphones. For me, noise is one of the worst things that you could do to my nervous system. I really have a hard time with filtering sounds. Even like, for example, if I go to a restaurant and I sit talking with my friends, but the restaurant has a lot of noise, has music in the background, has people chatting, there's a car passing by beeping, like my brain cannot filter those sounds and focus on my friend, what my friend is saying. So my friend is talking to me, I am like not fully there, and then I ask my friend, oh sorry, what did you say? Oh sorry, I didn't hear you. Oh sorry, I can't focus. And it's because of this, overstimulation, too much noise around, and our brain cannot filter this information. And that's also related to POTS, because the sensory awareness that we have, the nervous system that is responsible for sensory awareness, is also the autonomic nervous system. So in that way is also linked to the dysfunction there. And then we have the temperature intolerance is also common with autism, and fatigue and GI symptoms. So you can now really clearly see how they overlap, and that like maybe autism, ADHD are more like the mental neurological symptoms of the physical symptoms that are in these conditions. Anybody has any questions on this slide before we move on into management? Let me see in the comments. All right. It means I explained well if nobody has questions. All right, so how do we manage all of this? So whenever we talk about management, I talked about it in the previous sessions as well. It's very similar. The way you manage all of these conditions is very similar, which is can be positive, because like when you're managing ADHD, your symptoms for POTS will improve, EDS will improve with all of this. So if you manage the EDS, your symptoms of ADHD, autism will improve. So that's really nice that you can actually have a management protocol that is functioning and proven to help all of these conditions across. And that's actually the management protocol that we provide at ParaMotion. You can take obviously with me one-on-ones, or you could sign up for our waiting list, where we will have all of these courses and all of the programs, movement program therapies, on a subscription basis. We're now building it, so yeah, just go to our website and you will see more details about the management. But let me tell you something here, so before you go deeply into it. What you can do for POTS, for example, you can increase the blood volume and circulation. Since we have bad circulation, it goes back to the blood vessels that we talked about. Drinking water with electrolytes and salt, 2-3 liters, can really be helpful. Water alone is not enough for us, because we cannot retain these fluids, but when we put electrolytes and salt, it can really stabilize our blood pressure and help us. Wearing compression garments, for example, in the for the calves muscles. So with these compression garments, some people wear them when they're going taking a flight or something, like socks that go up to the knee, but they're called compression garments, and they help because of the pressure that they provide. They kind of help the blood to pump upwards towards the brain, so it can reduce the symptoms. So you can try that as well. When it comes to medications, we are not here doctors. We cannot prescribe anything. So please check with your healthcare providers. But these kind of the medications that are commonly used, we list them here, and then they are good for reducing heart rate, helping retain fluid, and improve the blood vessel issue that we discussed earlier. But what we can help you with is the autonomic nervous system regulation, because this is our specialty. Basically, our expertise lies within this, which is you need to move slowly, like Maya said. When you move quickly, and for example, for a POT patient, standing up is hard, because you know the blood pooling and stuff. So a lot of exercises maybe in the beginning till we improve these type of issues, we can be laying down supine. So we can do a lot laying down supine, very slow movement, low impact, just to get the blood moving around, and slowly maybe towards the end of the class we can do a couple of things standing, but an entire class maybe standing for a person who has POTS maybe is not ideal, because then it will maybe trigger more symptoms. And something that is slow is, and something that is focused on rehabilitating the joints, rehabilitating the body. I will go more deeply into the exercise principles that we have. So in the next slide. And then we also recommend smaller, frequent meals to prevent blood sugar crashes. So maybe instead of having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we have like maybe 4 or 5 times we eat a little bit of small snacks. That way that we don't have the crashes and the spikes as much, and that is really helpful. That's for me very good.
Yeah, and also when we have a big meal, for digestion, all the blood will go there, so you cannot do anything after a big meal. So you feel like lightheaded and you feel tired and all those symptoms. So with small meals, like you can still manage better.
Yeah, exactly. And then the mast cell management also here. These are over the counter antihistamines. You can buy them from any pharmacy. You can experiment with them, but maybe experiment with the healthcare provider supervision as well. And it's H1 and H2 blockers. We also have talked about this more details in our mast cell session. And then you can also follow a low histamine diet, since histamine for us is a major chemical that we overproduce. So obviously food also has histamine in it, like tomatoes, for example, are high in histamine. So maybe some days you eat tomatoes and you already have high histamine because you're triggered for some reason, and then you eat tomatoes and you're like, shit, like I feel bad. But another day where you're not feeling flared, maybe the histamine levels are not as high, and you eat tomatoes and nothing happens. So that's why also our diet and stuff can be shifting towards how we are feeling in that moment. If we are already, any question?
Can I comment there, Ines?
Yes, of course.
What helped me the most to understand the histamine levels is to see it like a bucket. And some days the bucket tips. So you can have different high histamine foods and it doesn't affect you one day. And then the next day you might have had them at breakfast, you've had them at dinner, nothing, at lunch, nothing happens. You have something high histamine, or your histamines shoot up for other reasons. And then the bucket tips over. So for me, that's like the most helpful way to understand it, is that it's a bucket system, and sometimes it tips, sometimes it doesn't. I just found that really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. The bucket can really explain that. Connie is saying low histamine diet wasn't easy.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you cannot have a diet for a very long time, because when you have very strict diet, you're gonna impact the microbiome of your stomach, right? And then there are some food you won't be able to digest, or you will develop allergy to. So having a very strict diet is not recommended for a very long time. When you have a flare, we should be like, of course we need to take care of the flare, but once we feel better, we need to reintroduce things slowly. And still, like, the diet is still a very complex topic for us. We can talk about it in the future in more details.
And we are currently building courses for later. They will be available on our website, where we will have like a course with EDS basics and its comorbidities, and one course on nutrition. So we go also into the supplements that you can take so that you reduce your histamine intolerance, and then you can eat easier. Like now, I'm not as now that I have stabilized my mast cell a little bit better, and I know what supplements to take in case of flare up. It's easier for me to handle my food, because I'm not like as flared as before. But obviously, this is very detailed information that we will have to provide as a course. And it will come up soon. We are like doing a lot of things right now. So, and Lisbeth now is helping as well. So, we're hoping to also focus on providing these courses so that you can have access to all this information in more details as well on our website. And it will be also included in our program. So when it comes to diet, it's a very heavy topic. I agree. There's no like short answer there, really. So it's hard for me to. But there are ways that you can improve it, and we will help with that as well in the future. All right. So one last slide, you guys. Stay with me. So how does that come all together? When we're dealing with paramotion movement principles, and that's the things that we have built from 10 years of research and trial and error and stuff like that, that we really need to be systematic, because it's a multi-systemic condition. We need to approach exercise and movement from a different way. So when we talked about it before, we talked about how we're stuck in so it's an autonomic nervous system dysregulation, and that's the common part between ADHD, autism, MCAS, EDS, POTS. It's an autonomic nervous system issue. So if you have you have the zebra running from a cheetah, like we talked in the beginning, you cannot tell the zebra, while you're running away from the cheetah, do push-ups, do squats. Obviously it's running away from the cheetah. It cannot now perform these heavy exercises. If it does that, it will be eaten by the cheetah and it's game over. So we cannot ask a body that is in high alert and a body that is in fight or flight to perform exercises that are on a high level. We need to start slow, and we need to start by teaching the body how to relax first and turn on the parasympathetic nervous system, how to breathe. Any questions? Meta coach?
Please, can
Anybody asking questions? Okay, no. Meta coach, you want to say something? No, okay. All right.
Well, what I was again looking at all this, I guess it just gives me a greater sense of awareness of what's going on around me, because now I'm starting to be more cognizant and aware of behaviors and symptoms that I see people having around me. So this is great information.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. So once we have activated the parasympathetic nervous system and we learned through slow movement, supine movements, gentle movement, and stuff like that, breathing, then we can start to build awareness of the body, because then when you are relaxed, you can start to improve your proprioception, which even people with ADHD lack proprioception. Proprioception is the awareness of your body in space. So we need to improve the awareness of our body, and because of our brain plasticity, luckily we can build new maps in the body where we can actually improve our posture and improve our alignment. So then once we can breathe, we can relax, we are aware of our body and we are aware of our alignment. Then we can build strength and stability. Before that, imagine you have someone who is running from a cheetah, immediately strength, stability. It will not work, it will lead to injury, and it will lead to burnout, and it will traumatize the person from even moving. I know a lot of people come to me and they're like, I want to improve my body, I want to do something, but I'm traumatized, I'm scared. And that's why we're trying to take that into account while we're building this program that will come up soon in our website, so that it takes you one step at a time, and it's something that you could do by yourself, rather than somebody on top of you asking you all these questions. Are like, it's more scary maybe to work one-on-one, so that you can build something with yourself, and when you need help, you can obviously always book one-on-ones with me.
And I just want to say, like, when you start doing this, when you want to calm the nervous system, you will have some resistance to it, because you're not used to it. You're living all your life on this high alert state. So being calm and relaxed can feel like a threat, or like you cannot really. So it's gonna take some time, and it's gonna be a little bit emotional. But once you cross this step, really it's a huge shift in the way on your everyday life.
Absolutely, I am a living proof. We are both. So, and then once you build the stability and the strength, you will start to integrate that into bigger movements, bigger patterns, where you start to feel the body works together as a whole. A lot of people with these conditions, they feel like they're segmented, you know, they don't feel like their body is moving with you know, in harmony and together. So in that way we start to build that kind of body flow, and it's something that we take off the mat. It's not like when I'm working out on the mat or in the gym, then I'm doing things properly, and when I go cook or clean, then you know, I'm like doing whatever, you know, and injuring myself. We need to learn functional movement, then when we go back home we are also doing these movements in our everyday life, and then in that moment you will have reached a very good level of reducing pain, improving your daily life and all of your symptoms, whether it's ADHD, MCAS, EDS, and POTS. So that was it when it comes to our presentation, and these are our movement principles.
And then we can go to Elizabeth.
Okay. So, as for me, I'm a very visual person, and we want to introduce a new little character called Para. So I'm going to move you to another side of the space, and we're going to play a game to fully understand the symptoms of POTS. So let me move us there. Okay. Let's bring us here. Okay, so the instructions for the game are over here in English and Japanese. I'm going to read out and paste in the chat one symptom of POTS, right? You then need to find the picture of Para the zebra. So this is Para the zebra, and you'll be getting the avatar of Para as well soon. Welcome, Exploring Kangaroo. You'll be getting the avatar as well, and you need to find the picture that you feel resembles the symptom the most. You run to that picture, and then you stand close to it. Some of them are quite similar, so it doesn't matter if you have different ones, but feel free to work together, unmute, look around. Okay, so one by one, I will post the symptoms here in the chat, and I will say them out loud. So familiarize yourself with the pictures in the meantime, and we will get started in a second. I just want to take a look at the pictures in the meantime. So for those on the live stream, we have a lot of Japanese participants as well. So it's important to be inclusive. So I'm typing in the chat in Japanese, and we're doing it in 2 languages today. So, okay. Are you ready? Clap if you're ready. Welcome, Mitsuaki. Let me just move to host one more time, because we're standing over here. Okay, so I'm going to recap on how the game works. Instructions are here, English and Japanese. Okay. I'll read out the symptom and post it in the chat. You find the picture of Para the zebra that you think looks most like the symptom, and then you run to that picture with your avatar and you stand in front of it. Okay, so the first one is coming up. It is called tachycardia, which is a rapid heart rate increase. So which picture looks like tachycardia or rapid heart rate increase? So move there with your avatar. And feel free to unmute and discuss and everything. Okay, so let's see. We got you guys? Yes, let's see, we've got you here. And also we have some at the other one over here. So I feel they're both right. The correct one was this one. over here. They're very similar, but here Para is having a shocked reaction because her heart rate has gone up suddenly, so rapid increase in heart rate. Okay, so the next one, let me do the next one for you. It's going to maybe be a little bit easier. Okay, just a second. I want to post it at the same time as what I say it. So palpitations, the sensation of a racing or irregular heartbeats. Palpitations, you can actually feel them. So where do you think are the palpitations? Where she can feel an increase in her heartbeat. Move to the one that you think is palpitations. Okay, let me wait a few more seconds. So can I get feedback at this point? Do you all understand the game? How it works? Okay, let's see.
Oh, she's so
Okay,
cute.
Chris said yes. She is
Really
cute,
cute.
eh?
Poor little
She's super
Para,
cute.
yeah.
Yes, okay, so the correct one was over here. This is palpitations. I'm going to put a heart at it and a sensation of irregular heartbeat. Okay, so next up, wait for it. I'll be posting it in the chat. Yay, I'm glad you find it fun. Okay, pre-syncope, feeling like you might faint. Okay, feeling like you might faint. Take your time, look around. And it's fine if we have different answers. The purpose is to familiarize ourselves with the symptoms and to fully understand them. Let me just type this as well, and then I'll tell you which one was the answer. Okay, so feeling like you're going to faint. The correct one was, let's see. Ooh. So the correct one is, my bad, the correct one disappeared.
No.
So I will upload it quickly. If someone can please type that in the chat, Denise, that
Okay.
the correct one is missing, and that's my bad. So I caused a bit of confusion there. There are some that look correct for this one as well, but there is a specific one for fainting, and it's coming right up. So I will post that one now. Sorry about that. Okay, so this one must have disappeared amongst the many. So here it is. Sorry. This is feeling like you might faint. Okay, so you'll definitely all be getting the avatar for my mess up over there. Okay, the next one. Let's do the next one. Brain fog and difficulty thinking clearly. So brain fog, difficulty thinking clearly. Where do you think you should go?
Sounds shit.
Brain fog, difficulty thinking. And let me wait a few. Okay, that's correct. It is this one over here. So as you can see, she's trying to concentrate. Tara's trying to concentrate, but her brain is a bit foggy and she has difficulty clearly thinking about what she needs to do and concentration, and her concentration goes at times. Okay, so let's do the next one. The next one is a migraine, and a migraine is a severe headache that often comes with nausea and sensitivity to light. So now let's look for a migraine. Severe headache, severe headache. Yes, over here. Well done, everyone. This one represents the migraine. So here she's got severe headache, just symptoms all the time. These are just the things that she's prone to, especially if there's a flare-up, like Ines and Maya will know best, but related to the mast cells and things as well, or if it's after an infection like COVID-19, it may be worse. So these are the things that she can experience when she has a flare-up or temperature changes. I, for example, definitely have POTS, and mine is worst with temperature regulation. So I need to use ice packs and then I'm fine. So if I have temperature regulation difficulties and I suddenly get hot, I'll experience most of these things at once. I can use ice packs, which is really effective, and then, oops, I'm fine. So also misdiagnosed as just pure anxiety, same path as Ines. So that's my part. Okay, next. Let's look for tremors, shaking in the limbs. Tremors, shaking in the hands or the limbs. Yes, this is what one of the things that they spoke about was with digestion. So I have to eat smaller meals. If I eat large meals, then the blood pools in my stomach and I'll start to shake and get anxious, but actually nothing's wrong. It's just that I've eaten more than I can tolerate, which is, so I have to eat smaller meals. Otherwise, I start to get shaky and sweaty. And people will look at me and like, what was wrong with the food? Nothing was wrong with the food. My blood pools, that's all. So this is another one that I struggle with at times, shaking and sweating. And again, I regulate that with ice packs and by having smaller meals. Okay, so next up, we have coat hanger pain. And this is pain in the neck and in the shoulders. So neck and shoulder pain. And this is because of poor blood flow. So neck and shoulder pain. Yes, and yeah, you can see she's got pain in her neck and in her shoulders. And Ines and Maya, please correct me if I'm wrong. For me, it's a lot worse during times of stress. So I have to avoid excessive pressure, excessive stress. I changed jobs for that reason. I was an SLP working with autistic children, and it was high pressure, traveling all the time, and then my neck and my shoulders were unbearably sore at all times. So this is then the coat hanger pain, neck and shoulder pain due to poor blood flow. Next symptom, nausea, which is feeling sick or the urge to vomit. Yay, well done. Coach, you're on this, eh? I think Coach has been studying para symptoms in advance. Okay, let's do the next one. Okay, the next one is abdominal fullness or bloating. So after you've eaten, maybe the blood flow is poor and your food doesn't digest fast and you can feel bloated. So yes, I'm going to say yes with this one. This one is slow digestion or bloating. There's two for this one. This one or over here. It can even lead to stomach cramps, but let's combine these. So it's this one, 2 answers. Okay, this one where she's got bloating and cramps as a result, and over here abdominal swelling and bloating. So they're both right. Okay, next. Chronic fatigue, which is persisting and overwhelming tiredness. You can sleep a whole night and wake up feeling exhausted. Welcome your diary. Follow the speech bubbles. We're over here. Hello. Okay, so chronic fatigue. What do you think is chronic fatigue? Keep looking. Some of you have it, most of you don't have it. So keep going. Mitchell seems to be knowing chronic fatigue today. Do you identify with it, Mitchell? So this is correct. This is chronic fatigue over here, where you're constantly tired, even if you have a good night's sleep. Okay. So next one, temperature regulation, sensitivity to heat and cold. This is me defined. One sentence about me, temperature regulation difficulties. So I cope. I just have to prepare myself. For example, if I'm going somewhere where it could possibly get hot, I have to wear layers. I will use ice packs or put ice packs in a vest or whatever if I need to. And then when I get cold, I have super warm socks and things. I just prepare myself. But yes, temperature regulation for me, the dysregulation of temperature leads to the most challenges, anxiety, all the others. So this for me is my Achilles heel. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Okay, exercise intolerance. So fatigue that worsens after physical activity, or you try and do heavy physical activity and you really struggle. Yes, correct. So I can be super fit, but I can't do long distance. Never have been able to. I can cycle for hours and hours on end, but if I have to run like long distance, I cannot do it. I'm just intolerant to exercise, which is why I appreciate like Ines's plan of gentle movement on the body. where less pain, more gain. Okay, so there you can see Para's gone for a jog and she's really not coping. The next one is poor sleep quality. Linda says, oh, she's super cute. I really identify with this little zebra. Poor sleep quality. So you struggle to fall asleep. When you do sleep, maybe you don't sleep well. Yes, well done. This is the one. Poor sleep quality. And I'm like Para. I get annoyed when I can't sleep. I get that frustrated. Like, I'm still awake. Welcome, Marina. We're over here on this side. Okay, so the next one is pasted in. Okay, shortness of breath. Shortness of breath. On which image do you see Para experiencing shortness of breath? I'll wait a few seconds. That's right. And there you see she's got her little backpack. You'll see the avatar will also have. Maya's wearing the avatar. In her backpack, she carries special snacks because she has food sensitivities. She has tissues if she starts sweating. She's got little extra things that other people may not need. So that's her little ParaMotion backpack over there. And shortness of breath often, I know in my case, will occur along with the sweating if it's after food or if it's suddenly like a sudden temperature change. So there's the shortness of breath, and it goes along with the palpitations. And obviously, I was told that it's in my head. I don't have palpitations, but I do. Have the mitral valve prolapse as well that doesn't harm me, but it just causes the palpitations. But that's what Maya and Ines were talking about earlier. Okay, chest pain is the next one. Yes, I see most of you have it over here. Chest pain is here. So I know that POTS can often make panic attacks, anxiety attacks, which come with chest pain. And then you have your heart checked out and they say, oh no, it's perfectly fine, just relax. So yes, chest pain. And the purpose of this is to understand it so that we can manage it, right? And not that I'm here trying to like hover on the symptoms, but I want everybody here to be able to go away and say, oh, my neighbor's daughter struggles with this, she can get the right help, because the doctors really don't know yet at this point in time. They just don't know. So it's to create an awareness of what it is, not to focus negatively on the symptoms, but to know what they are, to have better understanding, and then so that we can get the right kind of assistance. Okay, then the blood pooling in the extremities. And this is the story of the little zebra as well. When she stands still, and this is me, when I stand still, I get dizzy. So I'll move like from side to side, like this up and down a little bit so that I don't get dizzy. When I'm walking, I'm okay. It's only when I stand still for extended periods of time, then like at school when they used to say stand in the hall for assembly, I was like, oh. Then I'll just move around or sit down halfway or whatever needs to happen. So that's blood pooling in the extremities over there. And then we have one left, which is sweating. Let me just get the Japanese word. And this can be like you're just standing still and break out into a sweat. It's not like due to fatigue or anything like that. Yes, Rio has it, and Ethereal have it over here. Okay, so at this, your diary is a zebra. I love it. Okay, at this point, while I introduce the avatar, I want to ask if anyone wants to unmute and talk about, does anyone identify or recognize any of these symptoms in themselves or in others? Anyone? Connie says so many. Yeah, me too. I think for me the most difficult part is being misunderstood.
I skipped pressing.
Go ahead, Coach.
Looking at these symptoms, I've observed people with, having these different things, but I never related it to the topics that we're talking about. So now it's going to make me more observant when I, even with myself or with others, that this could possibly be going on with them. One of these symptoms related to these issues.
Exactly, and to be able to give information to other people. So you can collect your avatar here. On the one side, you can become para, and then this side, you can collect para. She will go into your backpack. So over here where I'm standing. If you want to remove your zebra head, let me quickly drop a portal. If someone can type that into the chat while I multitask. Linda says you also recognize quite a few in yourself. And I don't consider myself as having long COVID, but it definitely got worse after I had COVID, and I managed to survive the pandemic and only got it last year, I think. So one of these will just reset your avatar, and then the middle one will take off your zebra head. Oh, Connie, you see a broken email in a clearish box? Okay, that just means it didn't load for you on your side. Sorry about that. But if you want to take your zebra head off, just walk through the middle portal or the pink one, and then you can get your little avatar. Okay, so this I think it would be nice if Para can sort of tell the story of Illis Dunlos and POTS. So if you go around and they ask you, what is this about, you can link them. It's got the website link on. Ines and her sister are offering a course online, like a membership. You can do one-on-one sessions if you need it, things like that. So I'm going to hand back over to them, and then, yes, let's take a photo with all of us in our para avatars. That's a great idea, Linda. Where do you think we should do it, Ines?
That's a good question. Maybe we should do it with the pictures behind us. We pick like one picture where everybody agrees on.
Yes.
What was the symptom that was the everybody like got
Yeah.
that symptom? It was maybe the fatigued one.
I think the fatigue one will be good. I'm sure that all of us at some point in time have. I'm going to make the para avatar. Sorry, Petty. I'm going to make Para a bit bigger so that you guys can see her, because now we're all Para. Okay, so if you don't have your Para yet, come here and get Para. Okay, let's take a picture here at fatigue. Okay, I'm going to move us here because Connie is at the entrance and she needs to know how to get back. So let me just move us all here. Okay, Connie, are you back? Yes. Connie, if you don't have your avatar, you can get her over here. Does it load for you now? So over here, and then you just click Para, or you click F.
Cyrus doesn't want to be Para. He's too cool for Para.
So once
Meta
your
coach has
backpack,
the head.
but if you just want to, you can click F.
It didn't load
here,
for me.
and you become.
Okay.
It didn't load for you, Coach? What do you see where the Okay, so Coach, I'm going to do something else for you. Collect this egg over here and then get Para in the store. So let me quickly give you in-world coins. And then you can collect Para in the store so that you've also got a... We just put it in there as a backup plan in case it didn't load for somebody.
But maybe first...
I think it seems to be on the tablet.
Maybe first, Coach, you can go through
Say again, Ines?
Maybe Coach can go through the portal first to get rid of the head.
Oh, yes. But let me quickly give you the in-world. It's just 30 in-world coins, so you won't be able to do much with them in future, but just to be able to get the avatar. And yes, you can get rid of your head as well. Okay, give me 1 second that I load that for you.
He's not muted.
And if anyone wants to ask Ines and Maya any questions at this point, please do go ahead. We've got one quick little game at the end. Can I introduce it?
Yes, please. Do it.
Okay. So we're going to go... Let me just quickly write it down here. I had it, but then wait, let me just see if I undo. Sorry. I had all the instructions written up here about pressing 8. If you press 8, it'll show fight or flight. Okay, so I'm going to show you 10 little items. Try to remember the 10 items that you see. You can work together at the end. You're going to have 60 seconds to look for the items, but there's a trick. It represents brain fog. So it will be very foggy, and you have to move through the brain fog, find the 10 items, and then as a group see if you can remember all 10 items. So I just quickly want to type that while I move. If anyone wants to ask any questions or make any comments, I want to type the instructions up because I accidentally lost them now.
And during this time, does anyone have a question? Or do you want to share any story or any struggle or any feedback?
Rafaela, bye-bye.
For me, it really helped me.
Thank you. Bye, Rafaela.
Bye. Congrats.
Bye, Rafaela.
Congrats. Fantastic event. See you soon.
See you soon, Rafaela. Thank you for joining.
See you soon, Rafaela.
Bye, Lisbeth. Kisses.
Kisses.
Bye. For me, it really helped that you guys sort of helped me classify everything under one, like hyperadreneric POTS. And whilst I was also helping prep, I was like, oh my goodness, this gives me so much more insight. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing. It's helping me significantly, and also to be able to pass on information to my friends that I've got to know over the years that struggle with the same thing. So I really appreciate it, and I've passed on your details to them as well. So thank you for that. Okay, so I'm going to put the instructions quickly in the chat. I'm moving you to a little island. There will be 10 items. When you get there, it will be very foggy. You have to find the 10 items. You have 1 minute and then as a group, see if you can remember them all. So give me 1 second, and I will move you here, and the fog will miraculously appear. And you have to go through the brain fog to find the items.
Whoa.
Okay, so let's go. Go through the brain fog and find the items. There are 10.
I can't. I'm in the water. Oh no. I'm drowning.
Oh, I found a car.
And they all
Item. Okay, I found something. So what do I do
found
when
a
I
duck.
find it?
So just try and remember as many as you can. Don't write them down. Just see if you can find as many as you can. You don't have much time. It would have been much easier without the brain fog. So this is what people have to go through when they experience brain
This is
fog.
our daily life, right?
This is how it is.
And then go work and do all this stuff.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Whoa, wait, let me get to the other side. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Oh, there's a
1.
chair.
And
Can I
time
sit?
is up.
I didn't find anything.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I
Okay,
found
so let me
I found
move.
almost everything, but it was like tough. I
Okay.
was drowning a few
So
times.
what did you guys find? Okay, let's stand this side and don't look that side. What did you find?
I found a duck.
Okay, as soon as
A car.
you found a duck, anyone else?
A car, a
A
chair.
car.
I found a shoe, a car,
shoe.
a duck, a box.
I think I
ball.
saw a tree.
Oh yeah, a plant as well.
Yes, there was a tree. There was a plant. Okay, so let me
Water
read to you.
bottle.
There was a plant, a dog, a chair, a tree, a car, a bottle, a duck, a television, a mug,
Yeah,
and
I
a
saw
shoe.
the television. Yeah.
So the purpose of
Oh,
this
I never
was not
saw
to
the television.
Yeah, I saw
to
it.
really. I guess I'll move you back here, right? So the purpose of this was just to experience what it could be like when your brain functioning is a little bit altered, you know,
Oh, here's the
struggling
tree.
with concentration or struggling to navigate through the brain fog. So look how easy it is now. We can see the TV, the car, the chair.
Oh, I thought the TV was a box.
Oops, sorry, I muted the wrong person. I was trying to mute Linda. Sorry.
Yeah, it looks like a box if you're like
Here's
behind
the
it.
mug, here's the shoe, the plant. So without these challenges, it's much easier. So for me, it helps to just create that understanding. Sometimes children suffer with POTS as well after a viral infection if they don't get it treated. And, you know, they may get into trouble at school or whatever. But if anyone is working in education, look for these cluster of symptoms and, you know, speak to their parents, understand what's going on.
And also when you feel overwhelmed and that that's something different compared to other, there is a good reason why.
Yeah.
Oh, now I see them. Oh,
Okay,
I
so
saw
that was me done.
Perfect. Now it's music time.
I'm in fight or flight with Maya.
Yeah, I'm still
Fight or flight.
running.
Okay, so I'm gonna move us to the main island for the song, right, Ines? And then we're done.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody for coming. I know that Japanese people had to go to bed because it's almost 1 a.m. there.
Oh,
so
thank you
you
everyone
so much
for
coming out so late.
How do you say thank you in Japanese?
Arigato.
Arigato. Arigato gozaimasu.
Where science meets health, we welcome you in open arms. open arms. Life is not supposed to be full of pain. You can be free from strain. ParaMotion. Let's play more game. ParaMotion. We are warriors, signal warriors. Oh, 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 Stuck in fight or flight. Cannot see the light. Can't sit still. Can't think straight. Wait, hold on. Just breathe. Reprogram your brain to be free. ParaMotion. Let's play more game. ParaMotion. We are warriors, signal warriors all the way. ParaMotion. Let's play more game. ParaMotion. We are warriors, signal warriors. Fuck and fight or flight. Cannot see the light, can't sit still. Can't think straight.